Yo, what is going on, everyone? Welcome to a new MLB news video. If you guys are new here, be sure to subscribe for fast baseball news so you don't miss any of it. With our first story, the New York Yankees, Luke Voigt has been injured with a partially torn meniscus in his knee. He is expected to miss 3 to 4 weeks with that injury. A big blow for the Yankees to start off the year, but to replace him, they added Jay Bruce, who was a non-roster invite to their team. He is expected to play some first base for them. They also added Mike Tauchman, which is interesting because they already have Gardner, Frazier, Judge, Hicks, and Stanton who can play in the outfield, but I guess they are preparing for an injury. In other Yankees news, they also sent down Davy Garcia to the alternate site, so he might start the season in the minor leagues because Domingo Germán beat him for that fifth spot in the rotation, so maybe Garcia can work his way back up, but in his last start against the Blue Jays in spring training, he got roughed up a bit. In our second story, we have the Tampa Bay Rays suffering a pretty big injury. They lost their closer until the All-Star break. Nick Anderson has gone down with an injury, so a pretty big blow to Tampa Bay because they do rely on that bullpen a lot, but the Tampa Bay Rays are pretty good, and they have some other really good arms in that bullpen who can probably step up and replace Anderson until then. And there's still people on the free agent market like Shane Green. Even though Tampa Bay is not a big spender, they might be able to go out and get Green or Robertson or some other names that went into the free agency market. But I'll talk a little bit about that later. So a pretty big blow to Tampa Bay, but I'm sure they'll be fine for now. The Toronto Blue Jays suffered another pitching injury. They have not had a very good week at all. Anthony Kay has gone down with a shin contusion, I believe, in today's game against the Yankees. He was hit with a line drive in the ankle, so he is expected to miss about a week or two with that injury. The Blue Jays also have Nate Pearson, Thomas Hatch, and a couple other names on that injured list, and now Anthony Kay has been added to it. So I really think that the Jays need to go out and get some pitching to replace these players. Even if they come back healthy, the Blue Jays are still injury prone, so it wouldn't be a bad idea to go out and get some pitching. Even in their bullpen, they lost Kirby Yates, so maybe they can go out and get Shane Green or David Robertson. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle the situation. And an update on George Springer. George Springer is going to be out day to day with his injury. It's an oblique strain, so he is expected to miss the first 3 games against the Yankees, but then be back. He might come back beforehand, so you never know. Blue Jays probably going to have to build up some depth. I do know that Joe Panik made the team on the bench for the Blue Jays, and they sent down Espinal, so I don't really think there's any more competition going on in the Blue Jays system because Jonathan Davis also made the team. So I think it's just down to the backup catching spot if they want to put McGuire on waivers or if they just want to use Kirk, put McGuire on waivers, and hopefully he can sneak through to the minors. So interesting to see if the Blue Jays make any other moves, but they're probably not. There were some players released back into free agency, players that didn't make their team. Some of these names are surprising. With our first player, we have Cameron Mabin. I believe he was on the Chicago Cubs. He did not make that team. The Cubs also sent down Nico Horner, who was playing pretty well at second base. I think it's service time manipulation base, though. So obviously not good news in Chicago, but they'll bring Horner up probably after the 36 days is done, and then he'll produce in the major league level. If you're a Cubs fan, something to look out for. Surprisingly, Renato Nunez, who's been one of the better home run hitters in the MLB the last couple of years, did not make Detroit after getting cut from Baltimore. So interesting to see what's going on there. Maybe the team just aren't seeing what they need to see from Nunez, but he might be a really good pickup for a bench for another team that's competing. And another infielder who was a former All-Star who got cut, Jake Lamb, was cut from Atlanta. Pablo Sandoval made the team instead. Lamb has some pop, might be able to find a role of someone else, or maybe an injury occurs in the last couple games of spring training and he can find a role. No Ramirez from the Los Angeles Angels was cut from their bullpen. Interesting to see because the Angels don't really have the best bullpen, so maybe Ramirez could have given them some good innings, but they weren't liking what they saw from him in spring training, so he has been cut. And then probably the biggest surprise, Todd Frazier from the Pittsburgh Pirates, not the best team, not the best bench either, and he was producing pretty well in spring training, so it's interesting to see that he got cut, but apparently he might try to go and find a better role somewhere else in the major league level as a bench piece. He can play some third, he can play some first, and I forgot to add on this list, Tony Watson from the Phillies opted out of his deal to pursue a better role, I think, in the bullpen, so maybe a team like Tampa Bay or Toronto, who suffers a lot of injuries to their bullpen, can go and pick up Watson and maybe make a move. There's supposed to be some other names coming up soon. I know Brandon Kinsler has his option with the Phillies coming up soon, so some new names could trickle into the free agent market again, and other teams could make some sneaky pickups before the season starts. Just to recap, we have Anthony Kay suffering an injury, Nick Anderson suffering an injury for Tampa Bay, and Luke Voigt, the biggest name on this list, suffering an injury. Let me know what you think about this news down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next one.